Imagine a village trapped in fear, where every shadow hides a deadly secret and trust is a dangerous game. A mysterious creature roams the night and no one is safe, not even those closest to you. In the middle of it all is a young woman caught between love, loyalty, and survival. As dark secrets unfold and shocking truths come to light, one question remains. Who can you trust when the monster might be someone you love? Stick around, because this story will keep you guessing till the very end. The story begins in the 18th century, in a forest-covered landscape surrounded by dense woods, as it was the winter season. In the middle of the forest, we see a beautiful village where a little girl named Valerie lives with her father, mother, and older sister. However, the villagers live in constant fear due to the looming threat of a wolf. This was no ordinary wolf. It was a man-eating creature that transformed into a wolf when hunting its prey. By day, it lived among them in human form, but when it hunted, it transformed into a ferocious werewolf, killing its prey in terrifying ways. The villagers were unaware of the wolf's true nature. They believed it was just another wild animal like any other beast. Because of this danger, Valerie rarely ventured outside. Still, she had a friend named Peter, and she would meet him outside the house. Peter taught her how to hunt rabbits, and the two grew close. The story then skips forward 10 years. Valerie has grown up, and so has Peter, who now works as a woodcutter. Over time, Valerie and Peter fall in love and begin to dream of getting married. But Valerie's parents arrange her marriage to a young man named Henry, the son of a wealthy blacksmith. Valerie's parents were well aware of her love for Peter, but they believed that marrying Henry would provide her with a stable future. They worried that Peter's modest income from woodcutting wouldn't be enough to support her, so they wanted her to marry into a family with a secure livelihood to ensure she wouldn't face any hardships. But Valerie was furious about this decision. One day, she and Peter decide to run away from the village and start a new life together. Just as they are planning their escape, the village sirens rang. They rush back to find out that the wolf has attacked again, and this time it has taken Valerie's older sister's life. Valerie breaks down in tears upon hearing the news. The villagers are terrified, as they avoid the forest to protect themselves from the werewolf. Yet Valerie's sister's body is found deep in the forest, a place no one dares to go alone. However, the truth behind her sister's death begins to unfold. Valerie's older sister was secretly in love with Henry, the man Valerie is set to marry. When she learns about his engagement to Valerie, she goes to meet him. During their conversation, she discovers that Henry doesn't love her. He loves Valerie. Unable to handle this painful truth, she walks into the forest and willingly offers herself to the werewolf. Afterward, several people come to the house to pay their final respects to Valerie's older sister. Among them are Henry and his father, but Valerie avoids speaking to Henry. Once everyone leaves, Valerie's mother tells to her privately that she must forget Peter because she is soon to marry Henry. Her mother reveals, "I too loved someone once, but for some reason we couldn't get married. Later, when I married your father, I eventually fell in love with him." Valerie is overwhelmed with guilt and sadness. She is heartbroken to learn that her older sister was in love with Henry, something she had no idea about. Valerie begins to blame herself that she is responsible for her sister's death. Meanwhile, the villagers gather together, determined to kill the wolf once and for all. However, one man informs them that he has called for help from Father Solomon, a renowned hunter who specializes in capturing dangerous animals. Despite this, the villagers are unwilling to wait for Father Solomon's arrival. Consumed by anger and fear, they are desperate to hunt down and kill the wolf by any means necessary to finally bring peace to their lives. Before leaving, the villagers bid farewell to their families. During this time, Valerie meets Peter, who tells her that their relationship can no longer continue. He urges her to marry Henry so that she can find happiness. Shortly after, Henry visits Valerie and promises that if they marry, he will do everything to keep her happy. He then joins the villagers as they set off to hunt the werewolf. The group heads into a mountainous cave, believing the wolf is hiding there. Inside the cave, the group encounters two diverging paths, causing them to split up. As they proceed, they come across another fork in the cave. This time, Peter and another young man decide to take one path, but Henry tries to stop them. Ignoring Henry's warnings, Peter presses on. Meanwhile, Henry and his father take a different path. As they venture deeper into the cave, the wolf suddenly attacks Henry and his father. Overwhelmed by fear, Henry freezes and is unable to act as the wolf brutally kills his father right before his eyes. Despite the tragedy, some of the villagers manage to kill the wolf by cutting off its head. The villagers celebrate the wolf's death, believing it to be the same creature that had been terrorizing their village. Meanwhile, Valerie is at her grandmother's house, where her grandmother, who lives alone, gives her a cloth she had sewn for Valerie's wedding. On her way home, Valerie learns about Henry's father's death. Concerned, she visits Henry's house to check on him and urges him to take care of himself. As she leaves, Valerie sees her mother weeping uncontrollably while holding Henry's father's body. Something about the scene feels strange to Valerie, so she confronts her mother about it. Her mother then reveals a shocking truth. She and Henry's father were once in love but couldn't marry. After marrying Valerie's father, she discovered she was pregnant with Henry's father's child. This makes Henry's father Valerie's sister's biological father, meaning Henry and Valerie's sister were actually half-siblings. This is why Valerie's mother never allowed her older sister to marry Henry. She explains that Valerie's father is unaware of this truth and begs Valerie to keep it a secret. That moment, Father Solomon arrives in the village with a group of guards. He quickly informs the villagers that the wolf they killed was just an ordinary one. He explains that if it had been the werewolf, it would have reverted to its human form after being killed. Solomon shares his own tragic experience. He once lived in a village much like theirs. One day, a man-eating wolf attacked and killed his wife. In a desperate battle, he and his companions managed to cut off the wolf's paw. But within days, the severed paw transformed into a human hand. Solomon then warns the villagers about the blood moon, which occurs once every 13 years and lasts for 3 days. During this time, anyone bitten by the man-eating wolf will turn into one themselves within days. He stresses that the wolf is still among them, living as a human, someone they know, perhaps a friend, spouse, or neighbor. He also explains that if the man-eating wolf tries to enter a sacred space, such as the churchyard, its body will burn. He urges the villagers to stay vigilant, as the wolf could be anyone in their midst. The villagers refuse to believe Father Solomon's words. Frustrated by their disbelief, Solomon issues a stern warning. "You will regret this very soon." That night, the villagers are celebrating the death of the wolf, rejoicing in their victory. But Father Solomon and his group are gearing up to catch the werewolf. Knowing that tonight is the blood moon, they understand that this is the crucial night when the wolf will reveal its true form. Meanwhile, Valerie sneaks away to meet Peter. She confesses that she can't live without him and is determined to marry him. Moved by her words, Peter draws closer, and they share an intimate moment in a secluded spot. Unbeknownst to them, Henry spots the two together and realizes that Valerie is in love with Peter. Heartbroken, he quietly walks away, understanding where Valerie's heart truly lies. Valerie then returns to the celebration and joins her friends. Suddenly, the man-eating wolf arrives and begins attacking everyone at the party, killing people in a fit of rage. Solomon's guards try to stop it, but they are no match for the werewolf, and they too lose their lives. In the midst of the carnage, the wolf enters a house where Valerie and one of her friends are hiding. Terrified, the two girls tremble as the wolf approaches. Right then, something strange happens. The wolf speaks, but only Valerie can hear its voice. The wolf threatens that it will destroy the entire village if Valerie doesn't leave with him. Valerie, trembling with fear, looks into the wolf's deep brown, human-like eyes and suddenly feels a jarring familiarity, as though she has seen those eyes before. Before leaving, the wolf warns that it will return soon. Valerie is the only one who can hear what the wolf says, and she tells her friend not to tell anyone about it, fearing that people will think she's practicing dark magic. The following morning, Father Solomon announces that his guards will search everyone's homes. If they find anything that can prove someone is the werewolf, they will capture them immediately. Meanwhile, Peter visits Valerie's house, wanting to meet with her, but Valerie, still shaken by the wolf's cryptic words, becomes paranoid. When she looks into Peter's eyes, a doubt arises in her mind. Could Peter be that werewolf? Last night, Valerie's mother has also been wounded by the werewolf, and her grandmother is looking after her. Valerie notices that her grandmother's eyes seem strangely wolf-like, further fueling her suspicions. Valerie recalls the myth about the blood moon. When the sunlight touches a person who is a wolf during this time, they transform into the wolf's form. Desperate to find out the truth, Valerie opens the window, hoping the sunlight will reveal the wolf inside her grandmother. However, nothing happens, and Valerie begins to trust her grandmother again, feeling assured that she is not the werewolf. The next day, as Valerie goes outside to fetch water, Henry approaches her and reveals that he saw her with Peter. He tells her that he doesn't want to marry a girl who doesn't love him, so he breaks off their engagement. Meanwhile, Father Solomon's guards capture Valerie's friend's brother, suspecting him to be involved with the wolf. They had seen him perform magic tricks, and he was hiding in his house, which raises suspicion that he might know something about the werewolf. Father Solomon questions the boy, demanding to know who the wolf is. When the boy refuses to reveal any information, they begin torturing him for answers. In an attempt to save her brother, Valerie's friend goes to Father Solomon and offers him some money in exchange for releasing him. When that doesn't work, she confesses that Valerie can communicate with the werewolf and that she had seen Valerie talking to him. Afterward, Valerie is brought to Father Solomon, where she admits in front of everyone that the wolf spoke to her and wanted to take her with him. But when she is unable to reveal the wolf's identity, Solomon decides to arrest her, planning to use her as bait to lure the wolf out, believing that the wolf will surely come to save her. As Valerie's situation grows more dire, Peter and Henry agree to work together to find the wolf and rescue Valerie. At the same time, Valerie's grandmother visits Henry's house to meet him. When he smells her distinct scent, it triggers memories of the night his father was killed by the wolf, the same scent lingering around her. Henry then accuses her of being the wolf, but she denies the accusation and leaves. Meanwhile, Valerie is taken through the village and is bound with the red cloth her grandmother had given her. When her father tries to rescue her, he too is captured. That night, Father Solomon and his guards are watching Valerie from a distance, waiting for the wolf to appear. In the meantime, Peter sets a fire around Valerie's location, making it impossible for Solomon and the guards to see anything. As the chaos unfolds, Henry sneaks up and frees Valerie from her chains. Meanwhile, Peter sets fire to the tower, where Father Solomon and his guards had been watching over them. Valerie and Henry manage to escape, but the guards chase after them. Meanwhile, Peter is captured and locked up by the guards. Father Solomon's men continue to pursue Valerie and Henry is shot with a crossbow, injuring him. They end up near the church when the wolf appears and attacks Solomon and his men. The wolf then cuts off Father Solomon's hand. Seeing this, Valerie agrees to go with the werewolf, but only if it promises never to attack the villagers again. The wolf agrees to her terms, but the villagers try to stop Valerie from going with the creature. Everyone took refuge inside the church's protective circle, where the werewolf cannot enter due to the sacred boundaries. As the creature attempts to enter the church, its paw burns from the sacred boundary, causing the wolf to flee in pain. And since Father Solomon had been bitten by the werewolf, one of his guards kills him. The next day, Valerie takes Solomon's severed hand to her grandmother's house because the wolf can be killed with this hand, as it was the source of the wolf's curse. On her way, Valerie meets Peter, who suggests they run away together. But Valerie suspects that Peter is the werewolf because he was never around when the beast appeared. In a panic, she stabs him with a knife and runs to her grandmother's house. There, she learns the shocking truth. Neither Peter nor her grandmother is the werewolf. Turns out that her father is the werewolf. He reveals that he has killed his own mother after she discovered he is the werewolf. He urges Valerie to join him so he can pass on the wolf's power to her, just as his dad had done with him when he turned into the werewolf. He tells Valerie that he had intended to give this power to his eldest daughter, but when he tried to speak to her as the wolf, she didn't understand. He immediately understands that she wasn't his daughter, so he killed her in anger. Valerie's father continues, saying that he had killed Henry's father because he was involved with his wife, and then he wounded his own wife. As Valerie's father attempts to turn her into the beast, Peter arrives to save her. During their struggle, Peter is bitten by Valerie's father, but in the end, Valerie stabs her father by driving Father Solomon's severed hand into his abdomen, killing him and ending the curse. Afterward, Peter gently tells Valerie that he has to leave and go far away, because the werewolf's bite will soon turn him into one as well. But he promises her that someday, when he learns to control himself, he will return to see her again. Valerie chooses not to go back to the village and instead stays in her grandmother's house. One day, the werewolf comes to visit her, and it's Peter. The two reunite, and from that moment, they start living together. And with that, the movie comes to an end. Thank you so much for watching this video. Here's a question for you. Did you think Valerie's boyfriend Peter was truly a werewolf? Share your answer in the comments section. Don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell icon so you don't miss any future videos. See you in the next one. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy. Goodbye for now.